Hello everyone, in this video I'll show you how to sew this bag out of pair of jeans or a pair of denim skirt. I hope you will enjoy this video, and if you do, don't forget to hit subscribe, like this video, and let's get into it. To make this bag you will need scrap pair of jeans, a denim skirt or any denim fabric, lining fabric, 46cm long open end zipper, and you want to make sure that it's open end because you need the zipper to come apart. Then you will need paper, ruler, pen, and scissors. For the pattern, I'll be using the piece that measures 26 centimeters down the bottom, 26 centimeters in the middle of the bag, and 37 centimeters on the long side, and then I joined these two sides with a curved opening. For the back strap, I'll be using waistband that I have seam ripped apart, and mine is quite long because I like to wear my bags as a crossbody bags, but you can do any length strap you want. And if you're making it out of the fabric, cut any length and 14cm wide strap, fold it in half and press it, and then press both sides towards the middle as well so that you don't have raw edges. Sew it across all sides, and don't worry if the ends are raw, as those will be hidden. Feel free to use jeans skirt, pair of jeans, or just jeans fabric. If you have enough fabric, cut on fold down the 26cm side and cut it twice for the front and back piece. I'm making this out of jean skirt, so I'll be cutting my piece along 3 sides, and then I will flip it on the other side of the skirt so that it's one continuous piece. If your fabric is not big enough, you can cut 4 pieces out of this pattern. Just don't forget to flip the other 2 if your fabric has wrong and right side so that it's mirrored. Then I went ahead and cut out the other half of my front piece with the middle intact, as you can see. I repeated the same thing on the back of the skirt so that I do have my back piece of the bag. Ignore these slits you see in my pieces, I will be sewing them shut. And if you were making this bag out of 4 pieces, the first thing you will need to do is to sew them together. So put your both pieces right sides in, and using straight stitch, sew them together. Then you will also need to cut the same pieces out of your lining. This time, just because the lining fabric is not as thick, I folded it in half and I put the pieces with the fold on and cut it twice so that I do have 2 identical pieces. I would highly suggest using fabric that is very close in color to your main fabric. Mine isn't because I just didn't have it, and if there is any chance that your fabric is going to be visible on the right side, it would just make things look way better than having 2 contrast colors. Once you cut out your lining pieces, put them right sides in and clip it or pin it in place. Mine doesn't have wrong or right side, so I just put whatever sides in because they're both the same. And you will then need to sew across the side, the bottom, and the other side with 1cm seam allowance using straight stitch. Don't forget to backstitch at the start and the end to secure your stitches, and sew across these 3 sides. When you come to the corner, make sure your needle is in, lift your foot, rotate your fabric, lower the foot, and continue sewing for seamless stitches. Once you're done, trim your corner pieces and make sure not to cut into the stitches. I have also trimmed excess fabric, but this is optional. Then go ahead, press your fabric to make it a little easier, and now we will sew the bottom corners to add dimension to the back. To do this, have your fabric wrong side out, and you want to align side seam with the bottom seam so that you have this triangle with seams in the middle on both sides. And using ruler at the point where it measures 3.5 centimeters, drew a line, and we will sew across this line. And you want to make sure that your seams are on top of each other so that all seams align. And then you want to repeat the same thing with your next corner. Go ahead and sew across marked lines, not forgetting to backstitch at the start and the end. Cut any excess fabric and repeat the same thing for the next corner. Now set your lining aside, grab your main fabric pieces, put them together right sides in, and pin in place. Make sure that your front seam, if you have one, is aligned together with the other one, and sew across the sides and the bottom with 1cm seam allowance. When you come across any thick seams, manually turn your hand wheel to prevent your needle breaking. Again, I'm just gonna trim any excess fabric, trim my corners, and I'm gonna be doing the same exact thing again so that I add dimension to the bag. Now, just to show you this one more time, grab your bag from the wrong side and press the side seam against the bottom seam so that you have this triangle with seams in the middle on both sides. Using ruler, find 3.5 centimeter mark and draw a line. Repeat the same thing on the other side and make sure your seams are exactly on top of each other. And then sew those corners like we did before with our lining. Once you're done, again, snip them off. This is how it will look. These seams will match, and your bag, instead of a flat bag, is gonna be shaped in this kind of box, if that makes any sense. Now that we have our lining and main fabric done, you're gonna grab your main fabric wrong side out and you're gonna put your lining bag into that bag right side up. So put it in and using your clips, clip around the opening because this is what we're going to sew next. Once everything is clipped, you're gonna skip this portion here about 5 centimeters and you're gonna sew until you have 5 centimeters left. You're gonna finish it off and then you're gonna do the same exact thing on the other side so that you have 5 centimeters at the start and at the end on both sides. Before you go ahead and turn your bag inside out, just go with your scissors and clip into the seam to make sure that it's flexible. And again, make sure not to clip into the actual stitches so that it doesn't come apart. I'm basically doing little triangles around the curve. Then using one of the openings, turn your bag inside out. And this would be a good point to iron your bag to make sure that the lining stays on the bag because we will be installing zipper. Now I did mention this in the beginning of the video, but you will need a zipper that comes apart. Now before you go ahead and sew, you will need to clip in place. So my zipper is basically the length of my bag. I measured half point of my zipper and attached it with the seam that I have in the middle. If you don't have the seam, you can just measure middle point of your bag with the middle point of your zipper, attach that part, and then go ahead and attach both ends to the end of the bag. When you come closer to the edges that we haven't sewn together, our lining with the bag, you will need to fold them both towards inside. So fold your main fabric, fold your lining fabric, and then attach zipper so there are no raw edges, and do the same with both sides. When you have everything clipped in place, go ahead and sew using straight stitch. I went and did this almost to the end, but you will soon reach the head of the zipper. So instead of finishing it off and then rejoining, I basically lifted my presser foot. I made sure the needle was in, and then I tried to squeeze my zipper through because this side was with the zipper head. So if you can do that, try it out. If not, you will need to backstitch, then move your zipper head up and finish joining the zipper. Then you will repeat the same thing with your other side, but you will need to take the zipper apart so it's two separate sides. Before you do that, make sure the first zipper is working and it's not catching on any fabric. And to do the second zipper, you want to mark the points where it ends and starts so that you can sew the other half of the zipper at the same start and end. Once you're done, again, check that the zipper is working, and if it does, then you're good to go. If not, you will need to seam rip it and try again. Hopefully it works the first time. Now the last thing is to join the handle to the bag, and you will see that you have two raw edges on either side. So basically you will need to fold this fabric in, both your lining and your main fabric, so that it aligns together, and then press it in so that it stays in place. Now my handle is the waistband, so when I did seam rip it, I lost original seam, so I will need to sew this all around. I'll probably do a couple of lines. Don't worry if the ends are unfinished. We will be hiding those in when we sew it to the bag. So yeah, I just sewed a couple of lines for my handle, and now you will need to put your handle into the lining and the main fabric, making sure that it's folded so there are no raw seams. Try your best at, kind of folding it and tucking it in. And once you're ready, you will just need to sew across. Bear in mind, it can be quite thick, so you might need to do this with your hand wheel, because I did try to sew it and I broke my needle, so be careful, and if needed, do it with the hand wheel. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you in my next one.